Welcome to the Dark Tournament.
Hello? Guess who's back?
Today is Wednesday. It's not
Wednesday.
Thursday. It's not Thursday.
No.
May 11th.
Cheers. I haven't taken a sip yet of
It's
my
been,
beverage.
oh, I'm sorry. I have. My
Cheers.
bad. It has been a couple of weeks. Real life sometimes takes over, so we have to kind of take some breaks sometimes. But it's good to be back in the saddle with you, gents.
Good times.
How are we doing today?
It was a pretty good day at work for me. I had a good day.
Yo, it's been pretty nice outside lately.
Yeah, as opposed to that fucking huge heat wave that we had for 3 days straight. It was awful. Yeah. But we had a cool-ish cool front.
I'm hoping that bodes well. I doubt this, but I'm hoping it bodes well for the summer because
no, definitely not. Summer's going to be dreadful.
Oh god, it's gonna be horrible.
the thing is, it's just it's been breezy, which is nice,
I will train in the heat,
and
preparing for the
and
Dark
it's been
Tournament.
getting cooler at
Yeah.
night, which is nice. So, but yeah, we're back in the saddle, boys.
We're back. What a time to be alive. Episode 22.
We'll be talking about some.
Yeah, there's quite the glare on the game. But
Oh.
let me see if I got you. We got Nintendo Switch Sports. This is what we're gonna be reviewing today. Gonna be talking about it. I had fun with it. Robert had fun with it. But I think we should go ahead and jump in the usual. It's been a little bit, so we had to get back in the saddle of things or get back in the swing. So who wants to start?
Life updates. We can start with.
I went first last time, I think.
Okay, I can go. So what's up with me? I was supposed to start this week, my new job, but they actually got pushed back to this upcoming Monday. So that'll be exciting. Hopefully next week I can have some more insight on that. Recently went to go visit good friends up in Pennsylvania, which is a state, not a city, a state.
Listen, I know more about you about physical fitness, and you know more about me than
Robert,
geography.
we learn about states in literally middle school.
How long ago
elementary
was
school.
fucking middle school, Vega?
We're almost 30, so
You're not gonna win
Exactly.
this argument with me.
I will 100% win this argument.
So I went to go visit them. I stayed with them for a couple of days. I actually surprised them. It was a surprise from Kristen. She's actually the one who paid for the tickets. So shout out Kristen.
Who?
Harry actually, I'm going to throw him out on there. I'm going to throw him under the bus, but he cried. It was actually, it tugged my heart a little bit. I was like, bro, stop crying.
when you got there or when you left?
just give me a hug when I got there. Because he didn't know. He didn't know.
I wouldn't cry.
He didn't.
If I saw Vega, I wouldn't cry.
Now I know how you really feel about me. Huh?
I'm just kidding.
But no, it was fun. Got to go up there, do something different, just kind of be with them. I actually had a chance to play with them, Switch Sports, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. It was good to have people to actually play with rather than play it on my own. But
Banger.
other than that, it was last couple of weeks have been pretty okay. Nothing really substantial other than just kind of getting ready to start work up. Gas is $4.49 a gallon. We were talking about that earlier. It's ridiculous.
That's pretty rough.
When are you getting your new car, by the way? Soon? TM?
No, not soon. You got to remember that the supply chain shit's still affecting pretty much every aspect
Bro,
of the
now
economy.
baby formula, did you hear about that? Is in really short
I
supply.
saw Charlie posted something about that. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
shitty. A lot of things.
October though.
October?
Yeah,
That's when
I
it's supposed to
ordered
come?
it in February.
And it's supposed to come October? You got the Bronco, right?
Yeah, I got the Bronco.
I'm actually pretty hyped for it.
I'm excited for it too, man. I'm gonna
Road
take it.
trip.
Matante Mobile.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the Springs because they have some dope trails that you can go on and bring the pups.
You getting actually a good
Go
model,
let
like a
it.
4x4
Yeah,
type?
yeah. Mine's the Outer Banks. So it's not like the Raptor, which is the super high end one that Ford does, but it's like the mid tier one. Ended up paying, I think MSRP after everything was $53,000, and just from so that was in February, the end of February till now, they actually increased it by $6,000.
Wow.
Just because inflation's awful right now too. I think we're at 8.5%. And
What a time to be alive.
yeah, the Feds raised. Well, I don't want to talk about this shit, man. I want to talk about video games. No one's
All right, well,
gonna
that
listen
was
to
pretty much
This
it
is
with
people's
me.
escape.
Yeah,
That
this
was
is
pretty much
escape.
it for me.
Brian's about to move to the
too crazy
Ozarks
with
in
me.
that car.
You can just go on.
Yeah, so let's see. Work's been going super well. Nothing too major, but I guess I feel like I should have a bigger update after 2 weeks of not having an episode. But Derek is moving in very soon.
Roommate.
Shout out to Derek, my
out
little
Derek.
brother. So you guys are going to see him on the podcast eventually. It's pretty much just me, but
He's a
11
Zoomer,
years
right?
ago.
Straight up Zoomer.
Hardcore.
Oh, dude, I
dude.
can't. We're gonna have some hot
He's
opinions. by
the
him.
dude that is making all the memes and the sayings. He's in that tier.
He's
the
gonna keep.
factory.
He's gonna keep us in the know.
Oh yeah, he's
Okay.
yeah. We're on the way out of being hip and cool.
Yeah.
So
For real.
yeah, so he's gonna be moving in soon. So that's pretty hype. Let's see what else. Been playing a lot of video games. Obviously, I got to check out the new season for Halo. I actually have some good stuff to say about that, but we'll get to that. Yeah. And then
a lot of gaming news.
I've been doing a lot of game development by myself. I feel like I've kind of recovered all my C# skills that I had previously and added some, so that's cool. And then Reggie Fils-Aimé, if you guys know who he is one of the executives for Nintendo, specifically the president.
He used to be the president for Nintendo USA, right?
Nintendo of America. He was the president. Yeah. And he originally got onto the team, I'm going to say 2004, if I remember correctly from the book.
I think it was around the GameCube time, right? When that came out?
Yeah. Well, so he was at the E3 conference when they released the 3DS or the Nintendo DS. That was his first one. Yeah. And the public kind of liked him ever since. It's a really, really interesting way.
What's the book called? It's just an autobiography?
It's called Disrupting the Game. It just came out, and he was kind of like doing a tour.
It's a biography?
Yeah, I would say it's a biography. So I was under the impression that this was going to be a book about like the video game industry.
Yeah.
And it's like a different perspective, right? Because it's at the executive level, like the suits. Mm-hmm. And as I was reading it, it doesn't actually get interesting until chapter 7, because he kind of goes through like his entire life, going from living in the Bronx or somewhere, I think it's Brooklyn. Actually, no, I think it is the Bronx. So he lived there with his family. He was always like a really smart kid, got like a full scholarship to Cornell University, which is like one of the Ivy League schools. Then he started to work at Procter & Gamble, P&G. They have a lot of products like the off-brand lemon lime soda, Squirt. I can't think.
They're like one of those conglomerate, like Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah. It's one of those, but it's kind of boring because he's pretty much telling you how to be a good executive and how to communicate, which I'm like, okay, this is like kind of helpful, but it was kind of boring.
Yeah.
But the way that the book actually starts out is really sad, because it starts off with his final conversation with Satoru Iwata, who used to be like the original or one of the presidents of Nintendo in general, NCL. Mm-hmm. And it kind of just talks about like the conversation he had, and he was like, yeah, I got flown into Kyoto at like 8 a.m., which is like highly unusual. And it was just me in an office with Mr. Iwata, which is also like really unusual. And he's like, yeah, my cancer's back. He talks about like the final conversation he had. He talks about the funeral. He actually asked to see the remains of Satoru Iwata. It's a very, very sad thing, because Satoru Iwata was firstly a gamer and also a developer before he was a suit. Right. So, but overall, I think I highly recommend the book if anyone's remotely interested in the video game industry, just because it's such a different perspective that I know nothing about. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting to hear about the different conversations he had at Nintendo. So as an example, one of the best selling games of all time is for the Wii.
Wii Sports.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. So this is why I'm bringing it up.
But isn't it because it was released as a copy with all consoles that came out?
They didn't want to do that. Oh. So Reggie Fils-Aimé is a person that was like, wow, this is a hit. And they firmly believe in pushing the industry forward and not so much caring about the graphic fidelity, just because that's like a dead end road, right? Because to an extent, the polygon's only going to matter so much, right? Whether it's like, this image is like 10,000 polygons, this one's 100,000. Eventually, it's hard to tell. But the whole thing about Nintendo is that they always try to be innovative, and with the Wii, they thought they had something, and
they did.
And Shigeru Miyamoto was like, "Yeah, this is a great game." Everyone thought so internally, and Reggie was just like, "Let's include it with the Wii," and they're just like, "Nah, we don't give software away for free." Like that's like a Japanese thing that they believe in the company, and he was just like, "You know what? We should do it," and they did it, and it ended up being the best-selling console ever. Actually, did it overtake the PS2?
Yeah.
The Wii, yes. I believe it's all time it is the highest selling console.
And that's one of the reasons why, is because like in the first, I think a year, they just had like record breaking sales. And then he kind of talks about how
it was kind of a perfect storm. That's something I was going to mention, but it's just the fact that it's like, it really was like the proof of concept for how the system worked.
Well, yeah, because
so that you had a game that came with it and explained everything.
They had a lot of deals with bars, with cruise ships, and like other things like rehab centers. Like, because they had the, what was like the fit one? It's like yoga or something, and there's like a balance.
Yeah.
You're talking about like the balance board. That came with
yeah. So like they just had like all kinds of different angles. So I'm sure that's why I'd attribute that. But overall, great book. I'm gonna pass it off to Robert because I kind of got off on a little tangent, but just saying.
Hell yeah.
In a similar vein, on the art side, if you want to read the book about Pixar and its founding and how they trailblazed like 3D animation, Creativity
Oh, I gotta
Inc.
read a fucking book. You guys be reading books? over here?
Creativity Inc. was a phenomenal read, probably one of the best books I've ever read. And like, it doesn't have a like, I think no, it's about Jeff Kaplan, but for sure, like,
Wasn't he a
Was that
molester?
Pixar?
no, not Jeff Kaplan. God, I'm fucking up.
Was he the molester?
No, not Jeff Kaplan. I gotta Google it now. I'm fucking up. I don't know why I'm thinking
One
Jeff
of the
Kaplan.
guys at like Disney or Pixar or something ended up being like a
I don't know. No.
like a rapist or
At Pixar?
something. Yeah,
What?
because he was working on Cars too.
Interesting. I
Oh,
did not
wait,
know that.
I did hear about this.
Yeah.
Oh, Ed Catmull. That's who it is. Whoops.
Ed who?
Ed Catmull.
Oh, okay.
President of Pixar. Yeah, no, it's very cool because whoops. When you think about like computer graphics and stuff, like Pixar was a company that was like trailblazing alongside like fucking who's the Apple guy? Steve Jobs.
Jobs, yeah.
The Microsoft guy,
Bill
Gates, George Lucas, who also was trailblazing computer graphics in like cinema, and they were all essentially using the ARPANET, which was like the predecessor to the internet, in order to communicate and set up the framework for a lot of this stuff. So very interesting read. Very interesting. Just throwing it out there.
But yeah, life update.
Personal updates. Things have been going good at work. I finally feel like I'm able to swim and kind of help out. I'm finally learning, like feeling efficacy in my role. It's been really good. So now like instead of
Been integrating well.
yeah, for sure. Like for my first couple weeks, and that's just the nature of the beast. No shade to the company. Everyone's been super well and super welcoming. But like, you know, obviously there's a workflow that I have to kind of learn how to swim with and go with. And, you know, if things are getting like, if there's a heavier day or a heavier week, like everyone kind of has to put their head down, get to work. No one really has there's not the wiggle room to like slow down and show someone. You just gotta be willing to like run with it. But now I'm at the point where I could like tackle at least a majority of like the smaller or like medium sized things that will pop up
Can you build from scratch yet?
from scratch. In what capacity?
Here's a store offer that you need to make. Can you build it from like a brand new asset?
For a brand new asset, if I had the previous like offer,
Like if someone was just like, hey, you got to build a store for Easter. Could you do that? Like if you got the documentation correctly?
as long as I had like the previous program as structure to go off
Yeah,
of.
you always have that.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
There we go, dude.
Yeah,
Let's go.
100%.
Shit.
Let's go.
But that's really it. It's like learning, and I'm sure every game design studio has its own version of this. So I'm going to speak to it as like what I'm learning at EA, but like having or learning how to reference the work that has already been done in order to give yourself a framework to make new content. So, you know, like before, like honestly, the documentation's all kind of a mess, but it's still a
Welcome
good
to the game industry.
yeah. It's still a good resource for sure, but the better resource is learning like, oh, this is an issue, like this is the bug, or this is what needs to be made. Finding something that is like, I don't know, think about it like League of Legends. It's like a new event, or we're doing there's a new arcade event. Okay, look at how the folder structure and the data they had for the previous year's arcade event or the last time they did arcade, and that will tell you, or that will give you a solid foundation as to like how we go about it this time around. Obviously, you're gonna want to do things different. You don't want to copy paste, straight up copy paste things. But it's been nice. You know, I think I'm 2 months in now, and I'm finally starting to run with it, and it feels good. I feel
It's been 2 months already.
I started March, April. It's been a month and a half, just
Oh, yeah.
about.
Good shit.
Time's flying going by. Time's zooming by.
Yeah, dude, like I said, we've been doing the podcast for a year.
Yeah, man, that's
Almost.
crazy. A year is coming up in August.
If you guys got any ideas for what we should do for our yearly episode,
We are getting wasted.
let us know. I just threw that out. 'cause
That's the idea
that's
we
the
have
first
right
thing
now.
my brain goes to.
Taking the physical fitness super seriously. I'm trying to get fucking shredded. And granted, I've taken my fitness seriously before, but the time that I'm integrated nowadays that I did not was always the diet factor. But now, like, I got a food scale. I'm logging all my food. Like, I got my macro set out. So, like, my body is definitely going to be changing pretty drastically in the next couple weeks. So that'll be super fun.
He did say that he was going to start taking Trenibol and HGH.
I am trying to push the natty limit. So I'm seeing
So this is after.
how hard I could kind of, or where I can get
just
myself with, you know, progressive overload, logging my workouts. Fucking dude, I'm technically in a cut, and I PR'd to 310-pound bench press, which is really big, and so close to 315. And then yeah, what else? I got piercings.
You fell down the stairs.
I did fall down the stairs.
Can you tell the story, like just a super quick,
Oh
like
my
small
God.
story?
So
I get this text. Hold on. First of all, I get this text. I'm like, yo, guys, we still on for tonight? And they're like,
Yeah, we always check beforehand, like,
and
we're
they
gonna
go,
shoot.
Ryan goes, I don't know. Robert fell down the stairs. And immediately I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, are you okay? But yeah, tell us the story, guys. I'm actually curious.
And this isn't the first time
Oh,
he's done it.
Jesus
too.
Christ. It's the first time you guys were in the house when it happened.
Like he's fallen down the stairs here twice.
Are you just going down the stairs too quickly?
Apparently,
or something?
I'm a clumsy guy. Apparently,
That's
just
okay.
gonna put that out
That's
there.
okay.
I'm learning that's a characteristic of mine. Apparently, but I wake up and usually I take my first meeting of the day in bed. So because it's Zoom, it's whatever. I turn on my computer, I'm chilling. But Kaiba wanted to go out. I could tell like he wanted to go out pee. So like I wake up, I throw up the Zoom, and it's like, oh shit, I gotta go. So I open the door and I walk downstairs. And like usually I give myself like 15 minutes, 20 minutes of just like waking up, like listening to the meeting, talking it out, planning the day, logging into all my shit on my computer. But this time it was like, no, just get up, went downstairs immediately. And I'm like on the fourth to last step, and I just completely miss.
Did you fall like forward or like
No, I go
backwards?
straight ass down and go like a cartoon, like doop doop doop.
That's why I'm saying it had to have hurt. And like he
It
fell,
did not. It did not at all.
Like,
I
really?
swear, yeah, I was fine. Mm-hmm.
but like even then, because I was still asleep and like I was dreaming, and I genuinely thought someone was trying to break into my house because I heard Cindy scream. I heard Cindy scream.
That's how Robert fell.
Like, oh my gosh. And I'm just like you know how if you ever like wake up with like a lot of adrenaline, you're immediately awake.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know exactly what's going on. And like I just hear Robert laughing. So like I didn't like fully understand what was going on. And then like Cindy, my girlfriend, she comes in the bedroom and is like, Robert just like fell down the stairs. So it's like that awkward dude in high school, like he does something embarrassing and he just laughs it off and walks away. And everyone's just like, oh my God, is he okay?
And I'm just like,
Everybody's just confused.
You know what it reminded me of? You might not remember this, but we were DJing a party one time, and this one girl was so drunk, and she ran through the living room, and the screen door was closed, but it's see-through. Do you remember this?
No, she ran through.
Oh no, I think this might have been with Brian. But she ran through the living room, and she just like literally like a cartoon just hit the hit the door and fell down, and she's laughing, and she gets up and walks away, and like
As if nothing happened.
as if nothing happened. And she had like a lot of makeup on, so like there's a stain of her makeup like on the door.
Her makeup. Oh, it was Brian. It was Brian. Her makeup was on the glass.
Okay, it was Brian. It was
oh
Brian.
man,
That's
it was
so
Brian.
Dude, it
yeah.
was so bad because like I genuinely felt bad for this person because that probably really fucking hurt.
But she was just laughing.
Yeah, she just laughed, just like, oh my God, and she just ran away. And I'm like,
Bro, she was born with sturdy. I have sturdy. You know, if you guys play Pokemon and sometimes you catch a boy and it's like, this man cannot be one hit. Sturdy. That's me.
Oh,
dude, it was like 4 hits though.
Bro, it was. Ryan almost lost his PS5. I slammed
Oh,
down.
yeah, that too.
I ran into the TV unit that his PS5 is on. And I'm just sitting there for a second, just like, oh, and then he's like, are you okay? It was fun. It was good times.
you're
This is
okay.
the
But you're
content
okay.
house. I'm fine. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, jeez.
But
Life
yeah.
update. I fell down the stairs. And that's it.
Because I've had that happen to me before where like I land just like flat on my ass.
Yeah,
It
that happened to
fucking
me
hurts
once.
and it like shoots up to your chest.
Yeah.
And, like,
There was once like I had a knot in like my back.
I remember when as a kid, my mom telling me like, "Hey, don't get up too fast. You might be dizzy," and like never being like that never happened to me as a kid. But I guess like now that I'm cutting, I don't know. I got to take a second. I don't know.
all the working outs, I guess it's saving your life.
I'm in a caloric deficit. I'm working out twice a day. My body's not the same as it used to. But that's all. That's it for me, personal updates wise.
Cool.
Oh yeah, there's been a lot of stuff going on in the gaming world.
Yeah,
too.
gaming news. So, like I said, Reggie Fils-Aimé, former president of Nintendo of America, great book. I would say skip to chapter 7, which is like when Nintendo comes knocking. Start there. But overall, really good book. I listened to it on Audible, so I literally just like sit in bed, played RuneScape, and just listen to it.
Not a sponsor, not an ad.
Yeah,
Hit
yeah.
us up.
But it's just really easy to listen to, and it's also him narrating it. So that's like another.
that's even
That's
better.
cool.
That's even
That's how
cooler.
you do it.
It's
It
even
gives
better.
him a little bit more like
It feels more personal.
He's talking to you.
Yeah,
That's
but yeah,
pretty cool.
super good there. Have you guys heard anything about Operation Monarch for Call of Duty?
So I was actually, it's funny enough, I was talking to my friends about it today because usually they're always playing like BRs and Warzone and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, did you guys played it all because we're gonna record, and I was like, I wonder like if anybody's played it, like with all like the Godzilla and Kong and
I
stuff.
love Godzilla, by the way.
I didn't-
Kaijus are like one of my favorite things that come out of
They
Japan.
didn't play it, unfortunately, so I don't know anything about it. But
So they don't fight in it at all?
I have no idea. I haven't. So the only thing I would know is I have Vanguard for my PlayStation. I'd have to re-download to see if there's anything on there. I'm not installing Warzone on any of my systems. That thing is
Yeah,
so
it's huge.
big and.
So I did a little bit of research on it today, and
Oh, McCray in chat says it's trash. So
shut up, McCray. I saw that he finally moved into his house. He's all good to go. So maybe he'll hang out with me again. But so I've heard that he owes me at least one shotgun Mountain Dew.
yo, I went to a Publix the other day and I saw a thing like a whole like wall full of it.
I gotta say this is my favorite thing to drink. If you guys never had Mackenzie's Black Cherry, this shit fucking slaps.
It'll fuck you up too. It'll sneak up. You'll be like
Yeah.
at the end of your second one, you're like,
How
I'm
much,
drunk.
how much percentage alcohol?
5%, dude. 5%'s a lot.
But it's sweet. It goes down easy.
Yeah.
It does go down easy. Yes.
But yeah, so I heard that. So supposedly they don't fight at all, like on the map.
lame.
I'm not even sure like what the purpose of them having them on the map is. I will say it looks really cool to see like King Kong and Godzilla like in the,
The
water.
promotional art for it looks dope. It makes you like be like shit. Like I want to play, but then you go in and then you probably would expect them to fight. But
Yeah, apparently they're just like set pieces. I don't know if this is for sure or not, but it's similar to like those
doesn't make any sense.
dinosaurs
Cool.
in King's Canyon. You know, the
Oh,
two
I
big
see.
ones
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Apex.
that's what we had that conversation earlier last time. I was like, is there something coming up that they're trying to push promotion for? Like that they would have this? And
I mean,
they just have static like Godzilla.
I think it's cool. It wasn't enough to get me to play though, because I looked at the skins. They're kind of trash. Like when I looked at them, and then I also don't know if they carry over to Modern Warfare 2, which I know is another thing that you wanted to
so
talk
Modern
about.
Warfare 2 got announced. Well, I don't know really much about that other than I guess they're just releasing another Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, I actually didn't like the first Modern Warfare. I tried to play the story, and I
So
was
like
just like,
not COD 4, but like the one that actually was
no,
like,
COD
rehashed.
4, in my opinion, is one of the greatest shooters ever, story wise and multiplayer wise.
Bro, so many memorable missions from that game.
And funny enough, that Infinity War, that's what split off and became Respawn,
Respawn, right?
to
Yeah.
make Apex and Titanfall. But anyways, got Modern Warfare 2 coming out. I personally wasn't a fan of the first one. It kind of
I
just
didn't play the first one.
like the first reboot in 2019.
Yeah, I didn't play that one at all.
Yeah, so I remember thinking like, you know, the gameplay is kind of similar and it felt pretty decent, but I just like immediately lost interest within probably like 2 or 3 hours, and then I tried playing the campaign. It's not the same.
They really, I know they won't, I hope, but they really got to stop at their yearly cadence of Call of Duty.
Microsoft might change that.
I'm hoping so, man, because like if they just let each of the games like just breathe for a little bit longer, like
It's hard to keep up.
yeah, it is. But I mean, if it's hard to keep up with paying, you know, for a new Call of Duty every single year, you know, like that makes me not really want to put too much like time or effort into buying stuff for it, because then it's like it's just gonna be another one that comes a year later.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
knocked
kind
out
of
of Call of Duty like a long time ago.
you know, so
Yeah, I don't like any shooter that goes back anywhere. If it's like 1990 or later, I'll play the shooter. But anything like before that, like I just don't want to play in World War II. I don't.
you mean
I don't
like
like
timeline-wise,
Yeah,
okay,
timeline wise, I don't like the technology that was available at that time. I like Battlefield 1. That was an interesting concept, but I wouldn't like ever actually play it. Or like if there's like a Civil War Call of Duty, I'm not gonna fucking play that. You know.
I don't think it would go all the way back that far.
But yeah. So so that came out.
Overwatch 2 had a beta. That was pretty. I was gonna say it's a big. I don't care much about Overwatch, but there's
You
been
like Overwatch?
There's a
though.
lot of like.
What?
There's a lot
I
of
remember
back and
you
forth that's
saying
been going on there.
like,
oh yeah, he was super in Overwatch.
Because we had the Blizzard retrospective.
Yeah,
last
well,
episode.
I mean, as a concept, and then like Kyle got me that game for like my 22nd birthday or 23rd birthday. I played with him. It was the first like casual shooter I got into.
I still disagree with you that it's casual shooter. But anyways,
I played it in a casual sense. I feel like it was very accessible in terms of like how friendly it came off, and like at least at the time, if you look at it in the context of like, I don't know, this is 2016, so like what other shooters were popular at the time? Halo, COD. That was
it's nice of you to say Halo.
Well, yeah.
So that was Halo 5. So,
So
thank you.
it's like, you know, I didn't feel comfortable picking up those games and running with it, but like at least Overwatch looked bubbly enough for like a fucking spur like me to start playing it. But yeah, I definitely recognize that. I feel like I vividly remember like playing for probably like 60 hours over the course of a couple weeks and then being like, you know what? I've gotten pretty good at this game. I played my first ranked
match,
game and I was like, wow, this is a completely different game.
It's so
and that was the
toxic.
last time I played Overwatch.
It's so toxic.
That was literally the last time I remember that game and just being like, this is complete. This is not what I signed up for at all. And I just stopped. Overwatch 2, from what
I've
I've
been
heard,
hearing mixed, like both back and forth, good and bad.
most people are, I feel like overall people like it. It's just, I think people are confused about the branding. Like
that's the
people
big
aren't
thing.
upset about the fact that like, oh, it's Overwatch and it's got like some revamped visuals and like there's a new character and like some of the characters got reworked. So the balance is different. That's fun. People
Now
like
it's
that.
5v5 instead of 6v6.
You know, for
a lot of the things I've heard though, it's just like, why?
Exactly. People are just confused because this is exactly why.
It
Because
feels
we're
like a
talking
Wii
about
to a
it.
Wii U situation, like that Microsoft, Nintendo kind of shot themselves in the foot with that one.
Yeah. And
Granted, that was a console, but
it's just why? Because it's effective. They put a 2 in front of it. They put out the beta, and everyone was talking about it. And even though not too many people are talking about it now, but at least for those like
people
week and a
literally
half-
only got on the Twitch just to get the drops. Like,
Exactly. Well, that's the
yeah.
thing. It was effective. You know, for 2 weeks, 1.5 weeks, like everyone made a video about it. Everyone commented on it, so it got its buzz. Will it stick? I don't see it kind of holding, especially because now it's competing with games like Fortnite, who kind of fulfill that kind of stylized shooter role. Fortnite has the no build mode now, so that is more accessible to people who don't want to kind of partake in that. Even though Overwatch is a different format, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, so I do want to give some praise though to something that we regularly shit on, which is the new season for Halo. They had
finally.
so they had season 2 come out for Halo Infinite, which is called Lone Wolves, and so first thing that I noticed, it's a 6-month long season. So
Oh Jesus!
it's just
What are
like
there 200 levels in the battle pass? What the fuck?
no. So honestly, it's pretty much it feels like that the progression that they have is you could probably, if you play the game regularly, you could probably complete it in 2 to 3 months. Like just like playing maybe like a couple hours a day. So nothing too crazy, but I think that they're starting to just like crawl in the right direction.
Let me ask you something. Do you think it's 6 months because they're kind of trying to like put it out there to give themselves more time, or do you think they actually are going to be supplementing it for?
I mean,
those 6 months?
I feel like that would be an obvious call to make or thing to assume.
that was the immediate first thing I thought.
Yeah, so I would not be surprised if that was one of the reasoning, but I know that the dev team would never actually say that.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, they released a lot of new game modes. They released 2 new maps and 2 new maps, and one of them is for their new game mode called Last Spartan Standing. So think of it as like a bite-sized battle royale. So everyone starts out on this big so think of it as a coagulation or blood gulch. You know that map in Halo?
Yes. Yeah.
It's the Grand Canyon looking one. So imagine a map that size with a little bit more thought process given in like the things that are in the environment. So like you have to consider like the side line or the lines of sight, whatever. And I think it's 12 people, and you all start out with the electric pistol and just the normal UNSC pistol. As you kill people, you can level up and you get a new gun. So
It's like gun game,
Sounds like gun game.
it's literally a gun game,
but it's a BR.
yes. So they don't have a loot system implemented in it that would be able to supply 12 players in a small map, right? Because all the loot would likely get caught up. And the most likely thing is that it might be a little bit harder for them to do that on like the networking side. So I think it's like 12 people. I played it for maybe like 2 or 3 hours, and I noticed that the pacing of it is really slow. So it gets to a point where like the first level, so you have 5 lives, and every time you die, you lose a life, but you don't lose like your level.
Okay, that's what.
Yeah, and so you keep going up until you can get the AR. When you get max level, you get the battle rifle, and the shitty thing is that when you're playing a BR, when you die, what do you do?
A battle royale.
Like we're playing Apex and we all die. What do we do?
Queue back out for another game.
Okay, so you quit and you leave.
Yeah.
So in this one, so let's say that you're the first person to die, and you're waiting for like the other 11 people to finish. You don't get credit for your match unless you wait the entire duration.
That's lame.
That is lame.
Because literally the first thing I did was like, oh, all right, I'll just queue up for another one. And I noticed that like, I'm not making any progress. And then I realized like, I have to sit here and wait and spectate someone play the entire match out.
That's so stupid.
Are there like rounds or like?
Yeah, so there's a ring, obviously.
What
and
incentive do you have to stay and watch though?
well, you're not. This is the thing that I'm pointing out.
Okay.
So, like why it's difficult. But so like if you're like the first person out, you literally just have to sit there to make
So
sure
like
they
you
get
lost
progress.
all 5 of your lives. You're just out. You're not going back
You
into
just
the game at all.
spectate. You don't. Yeah, you just spectate.
That's lame as fuck.
Because
Let me
literally,
go take a shit until this match finishes.
yeah.
Like,
So I thought that was pretty lame, but like the overall gameplay, I thought it was pretty. It's like I said, it's a baby step in the right direction. I think there's still a long ways to go. There's still some quality of life stuff that they need to do. King of the Hill, I think, was awful just because like the way the spawns are for some of the maps, because a lot of the maps are symmetrical, and so it would be like one team spawns at red base, one team spawns at blue base, and all of the spots for King of the Hill would spawn on red base. So I'm just like, and like you get killed, so you get spawned on the other side of the map, and there's no way for you to contest it at all. So I'm just like, okay, well this is fucking trash to play, but. Kudos to that 343 team. I think you guys are going in the right direction. The other important thing to note is that Certain Affinity, which is another studio, they are co-developing something with them.
Cool.
So what could that be?
The actual BR?
I would assume so, but who knows? And that's pretty much all I got for the little gaming update stuff.
do you have anything else before we want to go on?
Blizzard did announce
the
new mobile game.
It's like a Clash of Clans.
Oh yeah,
type
how is
thing.
that?
Yeah.
Is that going to be like
I honestly
Diablo
have
Immortal?
I've seen nothing on it.
Well,
I
Diablo-
think it's like a tower defense type thing. Or?
It's a tower offense, they call it. Diablo Immortal, they did announce was going to be for PC as well as mobile.
Oh.
So that's big because there were a lot of people who immediately just weren't going to fuck with it because it was a mobile only game. But apparently you can play it on both mobile and PC. So that's actually appealing to me because like if I could log on my computer and put it in progress, but like I could also log on my phone and play. I'm definitely going to try the game out and see like how the synergy feels like between both clients and if it's any fun. People are kind of debating because it's in beta right now how pay to win it is, but that really can't be determined until we have the global influence of kind of like the market.
Yeah, definitely completely agree there because you're pretty much trying to figure out what your D0 and D30 retentions are. So that just means like after 30 days, how many people are still playing the game, and they're going to adjust all of those values before they actually go worldwide. So that's kind of interesting. I don't think I've ever played a tower offense.
Well, that was Diablo Immortal. And so for the tower offense game, the way it works is there's like a boss or some objective you have to get through, and like it's throwing hordes of enemies at you, and like what you do is you collect minis that are like significant heroes from the Warcraft universe, and they give you certain powers, and you also can send units to go fight and cast spells to affect the battlefield. But the game looks super cute. The cinematic was cute. I think it's totally fine. I think Blizzard, it's been said that like what Blizzard does is like they don't innovate new types of games. What they do is they take genres that already exist and they make them better. And I think that this is totally fine for Blizzard to be in the mobile space and to be like,
They need to be. There's so much money in mobile.
I agree. They claim that there's no loot boxes, that there's not going to be a gacha system in the game, and that's a point of contention right now because the way the game is presented and the kind of the stipulations behind games of this type. You have heroes or minis that you collect. So people are like, okay, there's got to be a gacha system, but they said no gacha. So that's what they went on the record going for.
All right, you heard it here first on What's the Hype.
So there's that. But the game looks super cute. I definitely will be trying it out as well.
Are you hyped for it?
Am I hyped for it? I'm as hyped as I could be for like a mobile game. It looks cute. It's definitely something I'll download and give it a try. If it's like super grindy though, mobile game design's hard because you have to find the perfect balance of like, I don't know, like there are people who want to fucking put 5 to 6 hours into a mobile game, but like as a mobile game, you also, if I got to invest anything more than 5 minutes of my dailies, I'm like, fuck this. So where's the balance there? I don't know. I believe in Blizzard. They could do it. Yeah.
All right, good stuff. Do we
Anything
want to move on to?
Yeah, for sure. We only
Main
got like
topic?
about an hour left, so you can use that last hour or so to talk about our subject for today. Who wants to lead it off?
Okay, I mean, I'd be happy to lead it off. So
Go for it, my friend.
if you guys remember, we kind of
comes the
touched on it
monologue.
earlier, huh?
Said here comes the monologue.
Yeah. So this is when we would want to pan the
Back in
camera.
1993.
Pan the camera only to me. So back in 2005, Was that when the Wii came out? 2006? I think they announced it in 2005 and then it came out in 2006.
Sounds about right.
But so way back when the Wii first came out, the one piece of software that Nintendo thought that this is the thing that's going to showcase to the world why the Wii is like the direction that we should be taking in the game industry, it was Wii Sports. So I don't know about you guys, but I remember playing this game a lot as a very Nintendo couch party game.
Oh, for sure.
Right. And I played the, I wonder if I'm misremembering, but I remember playing bowling a lot. And that was my favorite one to play.
That was like the marquee game, I feel like.
Yeah, that was my favorite one to play because some of them kind of get a little wish-wash because I know that there was like Wii Resort.
Wii Sports Resort.
Yeah, Wii Sports Resort, and then there's like the original one. So like some of them kind of get like wish-wash together, but bowling was my favorite one, especially because like when I was a little kid, I did a lot of bowling. But fast forward to, let's see.
The next one?
Yeah,
2009.
so 16 years later?
Oh, this one?
Yeah, 2006, 2022.
2006. Yeah, it would be 16 years.
I think 16 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can math.
Quick
So
maths.
16 years later, we get the latest installment, Nintendo Switch Sports. So firstly, I'm actually surprised it took this long for
I am
them to
too.
come out with this game, given the fact that they still had all the gyro technology in the Joy-Con.
True.
And given that this one only has 8 games in it.
6. It's going to be releasing 2 later on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
It launched with 6.
okay, so it launched with 6, and Robert and I were actually playing it over the weekend. So there's bowling, soccer, Strambara,
Badminton.
badminton, tennis, and what's the last one that I'm missing? Volleyball. Yeah, so volleyball's a new one.
Volleyball. I believe badminton is new as well. I don't know
Right.
if that was in. Actually, let me check. I don't think it was in Wii Sports Resort. 'Cause
Okay.
It definitely was not in the original. But
Yeah, so there's a lot of spiritual
soccer
stuff.
is new as well.
Yeah, soccer's also new. So I actually did not end up playing soccer because I was playing with Robert and we only had one Joy-Con each, and so you need 2 to play soccer.
I did play a decent amount of soccer. When we kind of go around and talk about our thoughts, I'll kind of go into it. But
So firstly, the thing that I would want to ask, who developed this game?
I can double check. Was it not Nintendo themselves?
Spoko Square.
Is it Sporgo Square?
Spogo Square is the actual area inside the game.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's like the fictional
My
area in the
computer is-
game.
Shit, hold on. Let me use my phone. Phone's more reliable than my laptop right now.
But yeah, like I actually don't remember the developer that did it. Or it'd be like HAL Laboratories or something, like something crazy.
I think it was just. I don't know if it's going to give me the actual developer. I know, but I'm pretty sure it's just going to say like.
I know Nintendo's
published
a
in-
publisher.
Published and developed.
There's
by
nothing on the box. There's no like developer art. or
Nintendo
logo.
EPD, Entertainment Planning and Development Division.
Okay. Well, so anyways, I think with a game like this, there's a lot of interesting game design things that you have to take into account. And one of them being is, firstly, I'm wondering how much they utilized from the 2006 game and how much of that code base they brought over to the 2022 version, because I think a lot of that code could be reused for this title. So I think it would be good if we just talk about each minigame that they have in there.
Sure.
And I want to touch on a little bit about the character creation thing because I thought it was a little interesting as well. But so bowling was my favorite one, and I remember being pretty fucking good. Like I could get up to like the 280, 290. I think I had a perfect game once
In this one or the old?
in the old one, 2006.
okay,
yeah. And so, because I remember there's a specific way that I would do it where I usually curve the ball.
Curve, yeah.
So this one I actually had a lot of trouble curving it. You can ask Robert.
Yep.
Wow,
Me
where
too.
I gutter balled it a lot, or I would feel like I'm literally starting at a 45-degree angle.
I didn't know if I should like turn my Joy-Con like with my wrist.
I did
or,
it the
like,
exact
go-
same way.
or go like the direction, or some sort of like combination of both. Because it was really, to me, I felt like it was inconsistent.
Yeah, so it did feel inconsistent at times. And I think that once I understood, you had to hold on to the trigger because I kept dropping it.
Yep.
Because I remember dropping it in Wii Sports. But you would have to hold it and then also turn your wrist. And I think the speed at which you turn your wrist also determines the rotation of the ball.
Gotcha.
So it was just ingrained in me that I should be flicking my wrist as hard as possible.
Look at the wrist.
Or yeah, rotating my wrist as fast as possible. And I think I ended up getting like 80 in the game, and then Robert I think doubled my score. He had like
Like the very first time.
Yeah, the first 10 that we did, I got like an 80 and he got like a
I feel like I
190.
got the hang of it. It was the way I feel like it works is like you hit Z and that locks. It's able to lock in your position and it reads the data from the Joy-Con's movement from that initial point. So any rotation you do or vertical movement you do is what gives you your acceleration and the spin. But it felt kind of rigid where like I felt like with Wii bowling, the way you would go about it, if you wanted to fucking go super slow or you just wanted to fucking chuck that thing down.
Well, did you notice that when you start to hold the trigger, your character starts to move? So I kind of felt a little bit pressure to like, I gotta hurry up and go.
Yeah, so and that's the thing, like the character's cadence and moving forward would always be the same. So like it felt like I had to match the character as
Yes.
opposed to the character matching
me.
my movement.
That's a good
so
point.
bowling in the Wii version, I felt more free to kind of just be willy-nilly. Granted, the gyroscope wasn't as advanced, but I feel like because there's so much more technology in the Joy-Con, I guess eliminating your like forward and back movement from the equation is what you can garner consistency from. Because that would be super intense if like you're taking your up, down, your forward, back, and the rotation of the wrist all into account at the same time. I'd be super impressed if that were the case. But the character's like locked in movement is my only gripe, but
Still had fun.
I was still able to bowl like a 190 on it, and it was fun. It was
I think the first time I did it, my score was like I think it was a 170 something. Was the first thing I got.
that's way more than I would bowl normally.
Absolutely. No, same here. But then the thing is, like, I felt like it was inconsistent because I literally immediately played another one and then I got like an 80.
Oh,
Yeah. So I was like, and I wasn't really doing anything different. I was just trying to like do better. So I was like, I don't know. But
And the bowling had two modes. They had like a trial mode or like an
yeah,
obstacle
you could do
mode.
it. Take turns if you're at like one lane, or you can bowl simultaneously. We only did the take turns one just because I thought that one's more fun.
They all had the obstacle mode as
special
well.
one,
Yeah,
yeah.
special
Yeah.
mode. But the normal bowling had that as well. But it's cool they kept that around, that you can still do that.
Yeah, overall, I thought it was good. I would probably give that one a 6.5 out of 10. Just because there's a level of inconsistency when I was playing, like you guys have mentioned. And then the way that I was trying to curve the ball, it did not feel the same as when I played Wii Sports. So, and that's just like the way that I like to do bowling, right? And I didn't like that I had to line it up and just bowl completely straight. It just felt a little bit more RNG-esque to me.
you can tilt. You can
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
But because I couldn't figure out the mechanic, I felt like I had to set
bowl
up straight and bowl
see.
straight.
I see. Okay.
And then at that point, it's like, to me, it just felt like there's some kind of RNG because I would think.
I thought you meant like aiming like.
No. I know you can
direction-wise.
aim.
Okay.
Like I said, I was aiming at a 45-degree angle. I would do the rotate, and it would start to spin, and then it would just jolt to the left, and I would
Yeah.
get a gutter
Yep.
ball.
Yep.
And I was just like, okay, I guess I'll turn more. And same thing, just straight into the gutter ball. I'm like, well, fuck. I have to play the way that I don't want to play.
Yeah.
Right. But we only played for like an hour and a half or something when we did it. But overall, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. It was pretty solid. What about you?
Bowling. I don't know if I would give all the games their own specific like scoring, just because I feel like it's probably based on like if you like the sport and how well you are at it. Like, so I felt like I was better at tennis than any of the other games, but that was like probably my least favorite game out of all of them, honestly, just because you can only do doubles and stuff like that. We'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about 10? Well, do you want to talk about what your rating, or if you want to give a rating? Because I'm going to give one for each game.
So I mean, at least approaching this question, like Nintendo has, it's an interesting, I guess, problem where like you have to take games that we have conventions for in real life and you have to gamify them in a way. Like you have to arcade gamify them. So I feel like for what they had, like I'd give it like a 7, 8 out of 10. Like it's fun. It's what you expect it is.
Yeah.
We're gonna approach this a little bit different than how I thought we were. If we're gonna go game by game, I guess the one thing that I was upset about, was a little disappointed by, was the lack of I guess like the special one with like the obstacles is cool. I didn't like though that like how in previous games you had things like the 100-pin bowling and you had like the other mini
there's
games
not a lot
that
of
you
depth
could do.
here.
I'm glad you said that because that was something I wanted to say about the game. I felt like the entire game didn't have any depth.
Oh
at
yeah,
all.
definitely not. There's
And
no
we'll
depth.
get into that. And I mean, at a very base level, it was fun. I mean, this game is like literally like, you know, you take your IP, whatever it is, you put your little bit of, you know, Nintendo polish and sheen on it, and you release the product, you know. And I think bowling. So when I did it, I played it with Kristen, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to play with Kristen because I think I enjoyed it a lot more than if I were to play it on my own. Like if I were,
I don't think I would play this
if
game
I was
by
just
myself.
like chilling at home and I played this game on my own, I'd probably have a much different opinion than if I were to play it the first time with Kristen and like those different games. The online mode I thought was kind of cool because you had all the different people that you could play with. I don't like how they cut you off after every 3 frames though, because it's like, what if I just want to keep playing? Why can't I just bowl a full set and then see how I do at the end? Why are you going to have to cut me off after a couple of different things? And I didn't feel like there was, because if you play online, then you get like the points to unlock stuff. I didn't really feel like there was much different because the very first game I won, I didn't get much more points than if I did the second time around, and I literally got eliminated like in the first round. So I was like, that was a little odd to me.
They should have done a bowling BR.
A bowling what?
BR.
What?
So it's like, let's say there's
How does that
30
work?
people and you just like keep bowling and like at every X frame, like, so let's say you bowl the first 5 frames, whoever has the lowest score gets kicked out. And then it's like, you guys do it like another 5 frames and you keep going and going and going and try to,
Oh, like infinite.
you just
Oh,
keep going.
I see.
'Cause it's similar to, is it Tetris 99, I think?
Yeah.
So it's just like, maybe they just didn't have the dev time for it, but
I don't believe that. I don't know.
there's a lot of like fun things that you can do with these games.
Yeah. Well, we can go on to the next one. I don't want to spend too much time talking about bowling, but
Yeah. Okay. So we did bowling. Do you want to talk about tennis next?
sure, tennis. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I started out the bowling one, so
Okay.
one of
I
you
mean,
guys
I'll
can-
start with tennis. The one thing I just wanted to mention was it's only doubles. So even if you're playing on your own, you have
It's a weird kind of doubles, though. It's not like how you would traditionally think it is, because it's like you and you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it's you and it's like a clone of yourself, and you can kind of tell because they're kind of like hologram-ish kind of.
My
version of you.
reaction time was trash with it because I was envisioning that I was the person behind, right? And there were a lot of times where I would do like a good serve or whatever, and the ball would go right past the front me, and like I would have a delayed reaction, and that's what caused me to miss.
Timing
hit the second
definitely
one.
felt weird to me. I ended up looking online. I'll kind of get to this a little bit later too, but I had my opinions and I wanted to see what other people's opinions were on the game, and I ended up looking up a couple different reviews and articles about the game. And one thing I noticed about tennis was that I guess there was more to it than I had realized, because they were like, oh yeah, you can do you can do curve shots and backdrops and all these different things. I couldn't figure anything out except for just backhanding and forward handing it. So that was a little odd to me. Like, I realized if I wanted to go this way, I would have to obviously like hit it towards that direction or vice versa.
Robert and I hit it out a lot because we swung the racket in the wrong way.
Yeah, I fell back into a corner a lot of the times where like my character would be up against the edge, or like because of where I was standing in the room, I couldn't realistically move to like make the shot I needed to
That you
in
needed
game
to,
because we
yeah.
were playing in a confined space. So it's like
I feel like
I'm
the
just
game,
gonna have to eat this.
I feel like the game didn't give a good way of explaining it either, because there were some game modes, and I believe it was in tennis as well. You could actually move your character with the analog stick. It never mentions that though.
In volleyball, you can move the character too when you're looking to set.
It never mentions
doesn't.
that.
Yeah, it doesn't say that
So
at
I
all.
was a little. I'm like, why do because you could tell because there's like arrow indicators on the side that kind of to make you like show like, oh yeah, you can move. But I always thought that was like, so if I move like the Joy-Con this way, do I move this way? But no, it was through the actual thing, and I was like, that's a little odd. I didn't understand that. Tennis overall, again, a lot of these games that are repeats from the older versions, they kind of just felt like rehashes. It's not like there was anything really new. And again, how do you innovate on a sport that's been the same for, I don't know, hundreds of years by now? What's different about bowling or tennis in real life? It's the same game.
Welcome to my profession, dude.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Basketball. What do you do different?
But so that, I guess I don't have too much to say about that other than I wish it would go a little bit more into depth of explaining of how to do the different things. I didn't know you could do any of those things until I literally looked up an article and it was like, yeah, you can do these things. And I was like, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. But
I guess that does introduce a level of skill depth that
Probably.
when the more you play, you might accidentally do like a back shot or a
And then, like, learn how
backspin
to
and be
do
like,
it.
oh fuck.
But at least mention that, like, oh, at least put a thing in like the little tutorial and be
Play
like,
more to learn
to
about.
experiment the different kinds of things you can
You'll
do.
never know what you will find out.
Exactly. You could have added that, and then I could have been like, okay, there's more to it than I didn't know, but they didn't. And I just didn't like that it was doubles only. I would have liked it if it was singles as well.
Yeah, but then why have badminton? I know. I think tennis was the weakest.
Different,
game.
so different physics at least.
For sure,
Different,
for sure. So
gameplay.
if you want anything else about tennis, unless you want to move on to badminton, because that was pretty much
I just
all
thought
I had.
that tennis was the weakest of all of them. It felt like a weak. Well, I mean, it felt like a really weak rehash of the original one. But yeah, I felt like from a game feel perspective, like playing through that one, I felt the most frustrated. Like even though like the Chambara and like volleyball, and we'll talk about it in a sec, technically were more in depth. I felt, at least with it being more in depth and adding newer mechanics, like I felt like everything was fair and designed well to kind of flow off each other. I never really hit a flow state in the tennis game. It was just kind of like whatever. I mean, serving felt nice. I know that there's a timing thing with the serve, and when you hit the ball, and like if you serve it like at the peak, then it's like
The
a super
apex,
serve,
yeah.
and that's cool. That feels good. But like in terms of the actual game, I felt like it was definitely the weakest.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out the timing for that game, and that's kind of like why I was frustrated because Robert hit like 4 aces in a row, and like when I went to do it, I thought I was hitting it at the apex because I play a lot of Mario Tennis on the Switch, and I just kind of felt bad, and like I kept fucking up the timing, or not the timing, the direction to hit it, and it would go out of bounds. And then I just could not get my reaction times synced with a front character and a back character.
Yeah.
So
That threw
I
me
thought
off, too.
that was tough for me to do as well. But I'll give it a 7. I had a little bit more fun playing tennis than bowling.
I feel like probably if they added so much more fidelity and where you can hit the ball with the controller, then they probably could not develop the tech to properly have a single character react to the ball fast enough to have you react to hitting it, because we didn't control our characters, right? And if it was going to be singles, then your character needs to know where to go.
I mean, they did it in Wii Sports.
But with that, it was just left and right. That was all you could do.
I
Just-
can't. So there, one thing
that
I
was
was going to
perfectly
mention.
fun.
I didn't go back and play the original Wii Sports, so I don't know what like the difference is between them. I'm just going off
same.
of like what I remember of nostalgia from what did we say 16 years ago?
16 years ago, yeah.
So, I mean, was there anything else you wanted to touch on?
That's
or-
about it.
7 out of 10.
So badminton.
Badminton was fun. I like badminton.
I actually enjoyed badminton.
Yeah,
I kind of
this
did.
one-
I
this-
like
I
I
fucked
like
with
the
this one.
drop shot thing that you can do the drop shot. It didn't. I don't think it mentioned that.
I didn't have fun.
Really, you didn't like it.
I fucking swept
No,
the floor where
it's because I couldn't figure out the timing to hit it because I would get a good hit, and then when you get the correct timing, it pushes your character back.
Bro, I
Yeah.
was oppressive.
And dude,
I was fucking him
I
up.
felt like it was the fucking.
There were times where I felt like I would either be swinging like early or late, and like I would get it sometimes, and I wouldn't get it sometimes.
I couldn't figure out at all because I was too busy like trying to hold them off. I felt
figured
like
it out immediately.
I felt like I was Cell, I was Cell, and he was Goku and Gohan like at the end, and like I couldn't hold it, and eventually like your character breaks, and like I can't even swing. So I don't know. It was hard to handle, man. Like. I didn't have fun playing badminton, but I could see the fun in it.
Yeah, it's definitely very timing based with like how far the puck or whatever, the little birdie,
Shuttlecock.
yeah, shuttlecock.
Shuttlecock.
That's what it's called. How high the shuttlecock is in the air from your character, and when you decide to swing, determines how hard it gets served back to your opponent. And I guess that's kind of the thing. It's like there's a pushing back, there's a tug of war happening with like keeping that cadence, and whoever breaks gets pushed back until Ryan's character would get pushed all the way to the back.
Yeah, because I got hit like 4 times in a row, and my
And
character
then-
was just like, it just broke him.
Yeah.
It's like shield break and Smash Bros.
And then
you
like
can't do
he
anything.
hits like a softball, it goes up, and then you could do a super serve back. And yeah, it felt good. I liked it. It was responsive.
So Robert liked it because he beat Ryan a ton. Ryan didn't like it because
I'll also give it a 7 out of 10. If that's the reason why they didn't do singles in tennis,
yeah,
Like,
that's,
okay,
but that's
fine.
my thing. Like I at that point I would have much rather you have dropped badminton and put in a singles and doubles mode for tennis and added another game.
why not just have both? There's like slightly different mechanics in both of them. So
True. You got me there.
I like
reason.
badminton because it felt at least from my
It was new
perspective
to me.
It was new, and also because like I felt like I wasn't thinking about like controller placement or whatever. It was very simple, right? This is a timing game. It's
C
me-
shuttlecock,
Yeah,
swing.
Exactly. C shuttlecock, approximately this distance from character, swing.
Yeah.
And maintain that cadence, and whichever one can maintain that cadence the longest is who will win. And that was literally the whole game. And it was fun. I got into it. You start sweating a bit.
I will say in badminton, I felt like I had more control of where I would be hitting it
Yes.
compared to tennis.
no, man, I was straight up Darth Vader in episode 6. Like Luke Skywalker was just smashing the hell out of him. That's pretty much what my experience was.
The Cindy serve.
Yeah, exactly. The Sunny Serve. But yeah, 7 out of 10. I actually, for the most part, I did enjoy the mechanics of that one though.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so we did bowling, we did tennis, we
Let's do
did
volleyball.
Okay, so yeah, so
Volleyball was
really
a new
cool.
one.
yeah, so volleyball was a new one. So I did notice across
And that was one they actually spent a ton of time of in the Nintendo Direct explaining.
Yeah. So I remember in how old was I? I think it was my senior year of high school. I actually took a volleyball class. I remember loving it, and
Volleyball class?
yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah. So I remember doing that, and then I also took another class when I was at Valencia that talked about volleyball. So I'd always like enjoyed playing the game, and I noticed across all the different mini games that they have in Nintendo Switch Sports, they all have a timing mechanic to it, right? So I am glad with this one though. The first time you play it, it does give you a tutorial.
Oh, yeah,
of
yeah.
like, hey, this is how you serve,
And it'll
this
be
is
like,
how you
okay,
bump, this
great,
is how
or
you
whatever.
set,
Yeah, yeah.
and then this is how you spike. But it showed a lot of mechanics, which makes sense because usually when you're making these type of mini game things, it's usually like, here's your tool set for the developers. You know, make as many things as you can, right? It's not like, okay, well, we have a separate tool set for bowling, we have a separate tool set for tennis, a separate tool set for badminton, whatever. They try to reuse where they can so they can help save on like tech debt and just overall time for development for the game. So this game did have it. It had the knockback, it had the timing thing. I will say I didn't feel like I needed to do the actual motions of volleyball in order to do what it was asking me. So like for the
just up or down.
Yeah, for the bump and like especially for the set, I didn't actually feel like
Yeah,
I
you
needed to set.
I did. I got into it.
You don't need to though, right?
Yeah,
like it doesn't
no,
matter. The spiking though, it did feel good because it's like you jump up and then if you're on defense, you can jump up and try to block it.
High Q music starts playing.
Yeah, yeah. So I actually had a lot of fun with this one. Of the new ones in Nintendo Switch Sports, I like this one the most.
So, you didn't play soccer at all?
No, it's because I was playing with Robert, and it requires you to have both Joy-Cons for both players, and
Gotcha.
we were just sharing one.
So, I agree with everything you said. I do like how they gave you a good like tutorial on everything. It also gives you like kind of like timing.
Yeah, it's
the
like
word?
early, perfect, and then late, whatever.
timing. Like it'll give you timing, I guess, grades on like how well you do it. The one thing I couldn't get a hang of was when you're spiking. I never knew when was a good time because I didn't know like how floaty the character was. I realized that like when the ball was in the air, like at its highest point, that was when you wanted to jump. But then it felt odd because my character was just kind of floating in the air, and then it would come down, and then you would have to spike it.
So the interesting thing about this game, and I kind of noticed it in a couple of others, is that more so in volleyball, I think they put too much emphasis on the timing as opposed to the power.
Yes.
Because like if you ever actually like play volleyball, it's really important obviously to jump at the right time. But like if you ever seen like the Olympics when they do it, they're smacking the shit out of it, and that's why it's so much fun.
Yeah, but what if you're playing with like your 5-year-old kid?
Fuck them up.
All right,
Yeah,
there
that
it
was
is.
that was gonna be my. And
You don't think the little kid's gonna be smacking it as hard as he can?
Bro.
Come on.
And also, I think they probably put
played
that
a
in
win.
there for
I
like
played a win.
safety wise because I'm not.
Tante away.
I know
Actually,
when,
that's a good point.
I
All
know-
the fucked up TVs.
I know
That's a
when
really
the
good
Wii
point.
Sports came out originally, there was a ton of like things going around about how people were fucking up their TV and
They always in Switch Sports they keep telling you like, hey,
use the
remember?
strap.
Get on.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was gonna mention that as well as I don't know. I would imagine in 2022 they probably do have the technology to like judge about like how fast you're hitting it. But I mean I think it was a little weird knowing that like all your power was based on timing.
Well,
which-
that's to save TVs, and that's a good point. They probably did end up
for
putting more
safety. That was
emphasis
my
on
own
that.
thing. That was the only thing I recognized about that. I couldn't get blocking down.
I got blocking down pretty easily.
That was so weird because it was like you needed to like jump much
You can
earlier
move,
than
though.
you thought.
You can move. You can move your
And I was going to
character.
mention that again. You can move your character, but they don't explain.
I didn't.
That to
I didn't
you.
notice that until like I saw the arrows and I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? And I accidentally hit the joystick, and I was
then
like,
you moved.
oh,
Exactly.
I can move.
Exactly.
And then that's how I could like get
So
some
I
blocks.
don't think you need to. I think it gives you the option, but otherwise, if you don't move it, it'll automatically.
But yeah,
do
it still
for
has
you.
the training wheels on for you.
But yeah. I mean, overall, I liked volleyball.
8 out of 10.
That was the one that felt the most intuitive to me out of all of them, to be honest.
Thinking about like what they had to do here, volleyball is a game where there's like 6-7 players on a volleyball team, each with their own
Normally,
specific role.
normally
only
there's
5, I
6.
6.
Is there?
Yeah,
six?
normally 6. I think.
So they took a sport that has very individualized roles, and they were able to make
Beach
it work.
volleyball's 2 people.
Oh,
That's
okay.
2v2.
But still, like, it was really fun how like your character, essentially you would go back and forth between like bumping and spiking, or you would be defending and setting, and that was like the flow of
Yeah.
it. It's like, okay, if you bumped and spiked, then the next time the ball comes around, you'll be setting and then defending. So obviously when it comes to bumping, setting, and spiking the ball, a lot of that is timing based, but you still have an analog kind of read based when you're receiving the ball and you have to bump it, that you can kind of move your analog stick in order to get it into the air. And then obviously if you're defending and you see your opponent setting up for a psych, you can move your character around to set that up too. So I feel like there's a really good blend, or there's a lot of depth here with the fact that there's 5 different roles you could play, and in 2 of the positions you control the character to kind of read what your opponent's doing, and then in 3 it's timing based. So you have a good mix of timing and analog based gameplay. So the variety there, I feel like if I was actually going to go like deep into one of the games, it'd probably be the volleyball one.
Ooh, I would actually disagree with that because I would probably spend the most time in Shambara.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Shambara fucking.
That's the one. So
I'm just saying that just like I appreciated badminton for being so streamlined and I could just go monkey brain mode, bing, 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 just kind of hit left and right. So volleyball, I was like, oh, there's a lot of depth here. Like there's a lot of different roles. There's a lot of things that I have to be keeping track of in terms of reading how well you're doing, responding accordingly, and getting my timing right as well. It was really fun.
So you can do both though in Shambara. So we're going to go to that one next. 8 out of 10 for me for volleyball.
I would say like 8.5 out of 10 for volleyball. I enjoyed volleyball.
I liked it. They also probably spent a lot of time on development side, figuring out the mechanics for that one.
For sure. Think of the last time a good volleyball game came out.
I don't know.
Mario Volleyball? Is there even a Mario Volleyball?
Mario Party Volleyball. They have a mini game for it, but not like a dedicated volleyball
Yeah, so
game.
in terms of treading ground on like how to gamify the sport of volleyball, not a lot's been done. So good on them. I think that for being video game volleyball, it's very fun. It was intuitive, at least on my part, to kind of understand the flow of the game. I thought it was cute.
But yeah, so to that point that you're making about volleyball having like the most depth, and then you also liking badminton because you could go monkey brain, Shambara has both.
Yes.
So I want to talk about that one next because I had the most fun there. Again, it starts you out with like a really good tutorial, but like, hey, here's how you swing.
It's sword fighting. This is sword fighting.
Sword fighting. So here's how you swing vertically, horizontally, and cross. Okay, how do you guard? You want to make sure that you're perpendicular to whatever attack is coming at you. So if Robert hits me with a horizontal one, I want to be blocking, or vertical, I would want to be blocking horizontal. But if you do like a side one, I want to be blocking opposite of that.
You know what it reminded me of? You ever played the Star Wars arcade game? You know, the special stages where you have to like...
With Darth Vader?
Yeah, and you use the like, or you're like Boba Fett or whatever, and it's like, go here, and it's like...
No, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's what it reminded me of.
But so like with this one, you could go straight monkey brain. Like, so if you get one hit, Robert and I always,
combo,
You
right?
would just go ham.
Yep.
But if you're good and you can like sneak in one block, the game flow completely changes, right? So that's why I think with this one, it was the most fun because it's an intrinsic system where it's like rock, paper, scissors, right? So vertical strike is blocked by horizontal.
strikes.
And then, it's just like that game. There's only 3 options that you really need to worry about for blocking. Technically 5. So horizontal, no, 4. Because both sides, horizontal and vertical, right? But so in that situation, like if you hit me once, you're gonna go to town and you want to knock me out. But if I manage to get one block off, and it's so fast, it's so fast to where I couldn't think about which way you were attacking. I was just spamming and hoping I got the correct one.
I felt like the stun, I guess the hit stun or whatever it would be, like framed it was actually. Whenever you got stunned, you were stunned for a while, like quite some time. You would have to make them like almost miss one before you could guard. It felt like
this is the only one where Robert and I played, and there was no clear cut person that was better at it. Yeah, because
we had some pretty spicy volleys towards the end.
Yeah, that is why it's fun. Because I remember there was a point where it was like tied, and we hit each other both. Like I got a hit, and then you blocked me, and then I did the same thing, and then we were just stopped. Because we didn't know, like we were both blocking because I don't know who was gonna move first.
Like fucking Jedi. It's just like
yeah, it was really intense. So I had the most fun with that one, but I also think that is one that you could not play for a long time because you're expending a lot of energy just doing the swinging, and you want to capitalize on like the hit that you just had. So you're exerting a lot of energy, but more so like obviously not for like like working out, but in the context of a video game. when you're
we're
normally just
swinging
like
that
sitting
shit, bro.
there, like if you're just like doing your dailies on Lost Ark versus playing Shambara, you're exerting some fucking energy.
I was sweating for
Yeah,
sure.
I was sweating too. That one was by far the most fun.
Oh, yeah, it was really fun. We didn't try out the different type of swords. We kept it to the basic sword, but
Yeah, I read the charge sword. I'm like, fuck, I'm not gonna use this one.
no, I really enjoyed that. Like, for me personally, I thought that like the game afforded you enough opportunity to like Ryan. Like, if Ryan got a hit off on me, like I just immediately would try to block in the same direction, and like
I
every
couldn't
time
even read it, dude. I panic blocked. I couldn't. I wasn't able to take in that stimulus and make the correct decision.
It really focuses in on the like that twitch reaction, like being able to read like super fast what's going on. It's like almost like the same kind of mechanism when you're playing Smash Brothers, and like there's so much reading you have to do.
You're not thinking about anything. It's all muscle.
It's just fucking you just got hit, so you got to respond. But it was really cool because like Ryan said, like your options are pretty limited, at least if you're playing with the basic sabers. But like even that, there's a lot of really fast interplay that happens with the swords. And you know, for being fucking motion controls, like the fact that we've had the Wii and the Wii U and the Switch and like VR, we have a surprising lack of like sword-esque type games out there. You know,
it takes a lot of energy though, man.
it does, but like, I mean, I guess there's like Skyrim VR and stuff, but I'm actually surprised talking about it now on the podcast.
That
like,
Zelda game, Skyward Sword, is it?
it was Skyward Sword, where like you had the motion plus control, but like that was not.
I remember having fun with that game, but like you also just had to think about.
I love Skyward Sword. I love that game a lot, but like when it came out, how it was advertised, and like with the Wii Motion Plus thing at the time, it was not received. It's probably the worst received Zelda mainline Zelda.
I think
game.
probably because everybody was used to just the original. That and Link was left-handed like for the entirety of Zelda, and then they made him right-handed for like this game.
Yeah.
You didn't know that, did you?
No, I don't really like Zelda games that much. Wind Waker is one of my favorite games of all time, but that I only
That's
love
like the
that
only
game.
Zelda game you like?
It's just because of the art style.
Oh,
That is purely the reason
Cell
why.
shading.
Yep, cell shading. But yeah, so you also have to think about. I felt like they had a lot of depth, skill depth in that game. I do wish they had like the endless mode, because I don't think it's a lot of fun to play Shambara against an AI. But it might have been Wii Sports Resort where they had like you're on like in a valley and there's like 100 different Miis coming at you and you have to like fight your way out.
What the fuck?
It was so much
let me
fun.
see.
I,
That does sound fun.
I remember Derek playing it a lot. And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Including Duel, Speed Slice, and Showdown.
It might have been Showdown, but there was like 100 people, and it was pretty much like you're fighting through like an entire canyon, and they come at you like one-on-one. Think of it as like Dynasty Warrior, but with the Shambara, and you're actually swinging at them.
That's what's up.
And like I remember there's like this bridge, and like if you swung them hard enough, they would fall off.
You just kill them.
Yeah.
Death.
Well, I mean, you fall in water in this
true.
one.
Yeah.
I was telling Robert, if there was ever a place like that IRL, I would totally go there.
Oh, for sure.
Just for like
We'd beat the
fun.
shit out of
Actually
each
fall in
other.
the water.
Yeah, to like actually play Shambara and you could fall in the water if you get knocked off.
Right,
That
I
would
can't swim.
That reminds me of like that. What's that one show that they're always like
Ninja Warrior?
No, Whiplash.
Oh,
It was-
Whiplash.
and they're always like,
Dude, the people get hurt on that.
It's so
They
funny.
get fucked
They
up.
get knocked the fuck out and they fall in the water.
And they have that embarrassing just laugh it off moment. It's me down the
fall down
stairs,
the
bro. You get decked in the face. You're like,
Everyone's like, ooh. You're just
like,
like,
damn.
Whoops.
It happens. I got sturdy.
I gotcha. Shout out to 7 people in the chat. What's up, guys?
I got
Shout
sturdy.
out. Shout
Yeah,
out.
fair enough, man.
Okay, so
10 out of 10.
I had the chance to
Shambara,
actually
10 out
try
of
the
10.
different ones, the different swords. I could not for the life. So the charge sword, the caveat with that one is like if you block successfully, you can build up like a stronger attack. I was never able to get consistent blocks enough in order to be able to like do that. So I felt like it was probably just easier to use the regular sword. The dual swords require you to use both Joy-Cons, where the regular ones only use the first one. I apparently learned as well, reading an article, I guess if you swing the swords a certain way with both of them, you can do like kind of like a Link kind of like swing, like spinning sword attack. I didn't know that. The game didn't explain it to me. It just felt like I had enough to do with one hand. So like having another hand, like to like swing with it,
Yeah, you're just
even if you blocked, like it wasn't you could block with one and then like attack with the other, because that would be kind of broken, right? So I mostly stuck to the one thing, like the one normal sword. The one thing that I did notice with Shambara was that like if I ever felt like I wanted to go swing a different direction, if you moved your hand too quick to get to that direction, it would register as a swing. So say I'm so the game wants you to start by pointing the Joy-Con at the screen. You press a button, so
Yeah.
that kind of like
So
like
resets the
calibrates
position,
it.
yeah.
And then you move it back to like in front of you because you kind of hold it like just right in front of you, like flush. And then you can go up, you can go sideways, you can go diagonal, whatever. But if I was like here and I was trying to block, and then I wanted to go like diagonal to here, if I moved my hand pretty quickly, like it would automatically like see it as a swing of the sword, and it would like sometimes it would screw me up because maybe they were blocking and I didn't mean to swing that way. So that was something I noticed a lot. I would have to be like this, and then like if I wanted to go like upwards, I'd have to be like, like I'd have to slowly move my hand up, and then I have to like swing it down quickly.
I was swinging like viciously the entire
same.
time.
Well, so that's so exactly. So
popping
that's the
off.
one thing. Like when I started playing online, I noticed that people started to have like a kind of quote unquote campy kind of play style where they would just kind of hold the thing and wait until they got a block, and then they would like combo you and hope that in the middle of that comboing, like you're not able to get a block off. And that's how every single game was decided. It was
That
like,
ain't Falco.
It was like if you got the block, and then you would like get the combo or whatever.
Happy feet.
And then I don't know. That was the one thing that threw me off was like if I wanted to go like if I was like here, like if I was blocking horizontally and I wanted to go, to the other angle to like swing diagonally, like if I moved my hand too quickly, it would trigger as like a slash, and that always threw me off. Maybe that's on me. Maybe I just need to learn like muscle memory not to like quickly go that way. But if you're getting comboed back and forth, and you
you
want
panic
to
block.
move exactly, you want to move fast. So I thought that maybe they could have done a little bit better on like discerning maybe the length of how far you swing rather than like the direction of where you're going to and where you're coming from. But I mean, overall, it was fun. It was definitely more fun to play that against a person rather than an AI.
Yeah, I didn't want to play it in the
Because
against an AI.
when I played against Kristen, like we had fun, but like if I played it normally, like I was
fuck
like,
that,
this
yeah.
is kind of lame.
The 100-man mode though that I played, that was a lot of fun.
That does sound like fun. I wish they would have had it in this game.
They probably could have. Like I
get
said,
into
DLC.
We'll get into that.
So that's all of them besides soccer. And Robert and I do not play soccer.
So I played soccer. Soccer is basically that was the new thing, and that was kind of with volleyball. That was also the gimmick because if you buy the physical version, you get.
I did. Yeah, I got the knee pad thingy.
You did? Okay. So I didn't. I bought it digitally, so I was able to play soccer just normally with like. So that is a 2 Joy-Con game only. You use the left Joy-Con to move and like run, and then you use the other one to kind of like simulate quote unquote your kicks. So like if you slash in one way, you'll kick a certain way or whatever. In theory, whenever you think about it and you see it, it looks really fun, but in execution, I think it was pretty poor. Number one, it's a 4v4. So it's cool. You have four people playing against another 4 set of people. But the map is huge. So like think of a game like the most obvious game that everybody would think about this is Rocket League because it's a huge oversized ball. It's not like a regular ball that you're like kind of like juking people and dribbling with.
Yeah.
It's one huge oversized ball. And it's very floaty, just like in Rocket League, and it's this huge thing. But the thing is, you're not in rocket cars with boosters that you're able to use boost and go across the place and do all these crazy things. You're just somebody running. And if your run gauge actually is pretty funny. It's literally the same circle for your run gauge in Breath of the Wild. Literally the same
little
exact
green
asset.
circle.
Literally the same exact asset. It's so funny. That was the first thing like we all noticed. We're like, isn't that from Breath of the Wild?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
There is a 1v1 mode, which I felt like that was much more fun because it was a much more contained arena compared to the 4v4. It was so big because if you hit a ball from one end to the other, everybody has to run over there. And the length that it takes for you to regain like your running meter, it takes so long. So like you have people that are like, the ball is just kind of rolling over there, and you have people that are just like running, but it's like you're taking so long. So it kind of felt like it wasn't as fast paced as the other ones. Maybe that's intentional.
You think it was maybe trying to recapture like the lofty spirit of like the ball being kicked back and forth, and like the fact that soccer, it can have its high octane moments, but it has those moments of like larger.
I think they wanted to add something new, and so they said, "Hey, Rocket League sports, why don't we just make something similar?" Because it literally plays just like Rocket League. With the slashing, if you slash or kick, quote unquote, in different directions, you can control where the ball goes. But if I'm running this way, same thing with Chambar. If I have, I'm right-handed, so that's the one you're using to kick. If I want to make like a kick from the left to the right, I have to move my hand over to the left and then move it to the right. But if you do it too quickly, it registers as like a kick to the opposite direction. So I kind of felt that was a little annoying. Maybe it's because it's calibrated to use the leg pad or whatever it is that you put your controller into. So I kind of wish you guys would have played it just to see how it would have worked with that. Because my experience was completely different, and I was like, maybe it's because I don't have that thing. But overall, I felt like unless you're going to play the 1v1, I think you could stay away from it. I don't think it's that fun.
Okay.
If you like soccer and you want to play like a fun version of soccer, go play Rocket League. It's free to play on
Or
Damn.
Super Mario Strikers that's coming out
or
soon.
Super Mario Strikers. I think I would have enjoyed soccer better if it was like regular soccer rather than like a big ass ball.
EAFC. That's another thing that I forgot to talk about.
Oh, the FIFA thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, the 1v1 was more fun, but soccer isn't 1v1. It's a team based game, so I didn't really feel like it was. Me personally, again, I don't know if it was because of like not having the leg strap thing, but
It was
Yeah.
probably whack.
yeah, you guys can try it out whenever you want.
Right.
I'll probably end up playing it again. I did want to talk a little bit about the character creation stuff, just because like I had a little bit of fun with it. They're going on with the trend of just being inclusive, so there's no gender, and it's more so like whatever hairstyle you want. And they also made like the character face like mostly neutral,
Very neutral, yeah.
so that you could, and like they changed the like the additional features, so like your eyelashes, if you wanted to add some blush, or if you wanted to like look like a chick with a beard or something, like you could totally do that, right? Change your hair color, all that stuff. I kind of, it's hard for me to continue to play this game by myself because, like you guys have said, there's not a lot of depth or replayability to make me want to continue.
Feels like a super polished tech demo. Like a super fucking polished tech
Really,
demo.
really, really polished.
I wouldn't pay $60 for a tech demo though.
Well, I mean, this one was only 50. Switch games are 50.
Wouldn't pay $50 for a tech demo though.
Well, you didn't have to.
Damn right.
But it was, I overall, I think it hit all the notes that I was expecting it to hit. I do wish it had basketball because I remember having a fuck ton of fun playing basketball.
Do we know the two games that are coming out?
So golf and let me double check. I know golf for sure is coming out at a later time, and then
Better be free if you bought it.
no, yeah, for sure it will be.
And fishing. No, I'm kidding.
That'd be kinda
Sports.
Bass Pro Shop
Oh, I think it's
2000?
just golf actually. Another sport for previous summon golf was announced as well and will be issued as a free update sometime in late 2022.
Late 2020? How long did it take to develop fucking golf? You already did it, bro.
So again, when we kind of get to like, I guess our closing thoughts on it, those are things I was going to mention. I'm glad that you mentioned what you said about the character creation. I did like it.
Yeah, I liked it.
I didn't like that there wasn't too many options of accessories, but then I really quickly realized that you have to play online in order to
get them.
unlock things.
There's more things that you can unlock, yeah.
And while I was okay with that because I was gonna play online anyways. Oh, there goes Robert to the bathroom.
Yeah, so the Heat are pretty close to getting to the conference finals. I don't know if you saw the game the other night, but
Yeah, they got blown the fuck up.
yeah, we fucked the Sixers up.
Yo, Embiid salty. He didn't win MVP.
No, that's not it, dude. The man has an orbital fracture on his face and a torn ligament in his thumb that's going untreated, and he's continuing to aggravate it.
Regular season.
I give that man so much props, not just because like he's friends with Jimmy, like good friends with Jimmy, but like that is some like Kobe Bryant mentality right there, where you're just like completely fucked up and your body is just like, dude, stop, and he's just like, fuck that, I want to win a championship.
I feel like so hear me out. I feel like a majority of the people who are professional players would do that, but not a lot of them are the level of superstar as like a Joel Embiid is and as important to his team. It's like if it was like a bench warmer that had the same thing, they would definitely be like, yo, bro,
Yeah,
you're sitting down.
I'm chilling the fuck out.
You're not going to play. But it's like Embiid and it's like, we need you to play, bro.
Yeah, but like I don't blame that man for not playing super well last game. He's actually not the reason why we lost our games, in my opinion, because we've done a good job playing small ball and fronting the post and having the guy from the bottom come out to help.
Welcome back.
I had to. I was
All
holding
right,
that
so
in
we'll,
for like
we'll
15
finish that
minutes.
conversation.
Yeah. So,
later.
anyways, I want to do the original thing.
Whoa.
I know. I'm just saying. I want to do the thing where we all say the rating
I
of
wanted
it
to
at the
finish
end.
what I was
I
saying.
know. After Vega finishes his thoughts and our closing remarks, because there's some new viewers in the chat. So just so that you guys know, we all give our score at the same time and we discuss after Vega is done with his closing
Okay,
remarks.
no, I wasn't gonna add much. I was just gonna say
this fucking guy.
No. I was going on to the accessories thing and unlocking stuff for my character. I was gonna play online anyways, but I just didn't like that I can't just play locally or on my own against like AI and unlock things that way. I don't know why I have to necessarily play online.
It's kind of weird that Nintendo makes you play online.
To
'cause
incentivize people to play online, unless no one else would. That's why probably.
I mean,
Tencent?
but have it for both then. I mean, I don't know. I was gonna play online anyways, but like, what if there's people who, again, there's a very big demographic of people who are gonna be playing this game from very young up until older people. Even parents would like play these games with their kids, right? But if you're a younger kid who's playing the game, you're probably not going to want to play online. You're probably going to want to play like by yourself. It's AI because
It's a weird attitude from Nintendo too, if you think about it.
I would have expected that from any other like Sony or Microsoft. I did not expect that from Nintendo.
Yeah,
so when I
it's
saw it,
weird
it was
for
like
Nintendo.
play globally with 1 or 2 people, which okay, cool, that's cool, I guess. And it's like that's how you unlock more stuff. Why can't I just play regular and just enjoy the game on my own and unlock stuff that way? That was the one thing I
Definitely
didn't like.
weird.
What else? Oh, the ranking system thing. For the longest time, something I really enjoyed about the original like Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort was like you can kind of track in real time how well you were. So like the more better you did at bowling, you would get higher scores. And you'd be
Yeah,
considered
I
a
remember
pro.
that. Yeah, you had your stats.
I thought that wasn't in this game. Apparently it is, but you need to play online solo at least 10 times for that game before it unlocks then a ranked quote unquote mode. And then that's when you do it. And it's no longer by like amateur or pro, whatever, it's by grade. So that was something I was actually going to mention in this episode, but I'm glad that I went and I looked up other things because I would have never realized that was in there because I had played a ton online with Kristen, but I didn't actually end up playing a ton online solo.
This isn't the game you play online, though. I'm sorry. At
Yeah,
least
so-
from my
It's
perspective, yeah.
So again, those were the only 2 things that I wanted to say really, but yeah, that was pretty much it.
Closing remarks for you?
Closing remarks. It's an interesting thing that this series, the dilemma with it, because being paired with the Wii, being one of the best-selling games because it was paired with the best-selling console. But now it's like I feel like they're like Wii or Me, like the Wii Sports Resort, Nintendo Land, all like their Me themed games. Like since Wii Sports, like it's been really difficult to see
Trying to recapture that magic.
Yes, because like you're trying to sell and kind of pick. You have such strong brand recognition with the Wii Sports brand now because it was literally the best-selling game of all fucking time. But now you're trying to recapture that or monetize that in a different way. And I've seen Nintendo really struggle with trying to do it effectively. And I just don't. I think if every Nintendo game that came out had a game like this free paired with it, that would be excellent. If I bought the Switch, and I remember because the Switch, the games you can get at the Switch at launch, it was pretty fucking light. It was like Breath of the Wild. That was it.
On
Essentially.
ARMS and
Not even when it first came out, it was just like everyone had Breath of the Wild.
I'm pretty sure ARMS and Splatoon were launch titles.
No, ARMS launched when I went to Seattle, which with Kyle. I remember because he got that, and that was a couple months after. So ARMS was not out at the time.
Wasn't Super Mario Odyssey a launch?
It was, yeah.
Odyssey?
Yeah. Because I remember when I got my Switch, I got the Super Mario Odyssey one.
Hold on.
Because I've never played Breath of the Wild, and I did not buy the Switch.
I don't think that.
Breath of
I'm
the
looking
Wild.
up an article.
I think Odyssey was shortly after. Like,
Oh, probably, yeah.
yeah. But I don't know about launch.
So launch day, 1-2 Switch.
1-2 Switch.
Everyone had 1-2 Switch. Yeah.
Breath of the Wild, Skylanders, Just Dance, Bomberman,
Yeah, bro. That's
Um,
we're already.
and Shovel Knight. That was it.
Yeah, fucking now.
But you're right. Yeah, there was a launch window where the rest of those other games like had came out.
So again, if you had one of these games developed ahead of time to go pair with the Switch, that'd be phenomenal. Of course, everyone bought 1-2 Switch because if you wanted to play with your friends, it was really the only option you had.
I don't mean to cut you off. Odyssey was holiday 2017.
Same year. Right?
It was but it was
Same year as
holiday.
launch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
same year
just
though, yeah.
December.
Continue.
But yeah, I would love to see Nintendo. Obviously, I don't want to say I don't want these games to exist, right? I just want them to exist in the right context because honestly, I can't in good conscience say that I would spend $50 on this game. But I had fun playing it. I would love if Nintendo set it up so that like every time it had one of these Wii Sports or like Mii Universe games, it came as like supplementary software for their consoles. I think that would be phenomenal. But
Yeah.
kind of what you hinted at earlier, that's I guess, against the ethic of Nintendo Japan, even though it led to one of the most successful establishments of their games in all time history. But that's kind of where I'm at with this game. It was fun. I definitely had fun. I'm not going to say I didn't. Chambara, the badminton. And again, like if I ever had people over or like, you're just want to hang out, vibe, it's definitely a game I would throw out there for a little bit. But $50 though, I don't know.
Yeah, so I kind of noticed with the Switch titles that I bought, there's a consistent trend of the core idea is there and it's presented well, but it doesn't get expanded. So Mario Tennis for the Switch, same exact thing. That core gameplay loop, phenomenal. But the way that you express it further, like when they had their little story mode, the story mode was garbage, right? And same thing for Mario Golf, the most recent one for the Switch that came out. I remember playing that one and being like, okay, here's some cool modes, but the course depth, trash. And then same thing with like the character depth was kind of trash.
Yeah.
And comparing it to Wii Sports again, like Wii Sports had a good combination of like the sim games, but you also had like silly things like 100 pin bowling. Like it's still a game, in and of in itself. So like you can do silly things that you can only do in a game universe because it's a fucking game. So I give them props where they were able to take things like volleyball and gamify that to be fun and feel, and you can enter that flow state while you're playing it. But I also am saddened to see that there wasn't more exploration to have kind of break the mold and take things a little further, like they had in the past already. So,
like the point that I was making was that this game falls to the exact same thing that I was just describing with those other titles. The core idea is right there, and they've done a great job of flexing out the core loop that they have for all the different game modes. It's just, where do I go from there? Why? Like there just needs to be some more fleshed out ideas, some more fleshed out progression. Probably would just take a little bit more time, but that's obviously like a very precious thing in the game development world of, like we have a great idea, but it's not exactly what we want. And it kind of just seems like the Switch games that I played, it's very surface level, and it might be like a 4-foot deep drop, but I'm really looking for like that 20-foot deep end.
And Nintendo's capable of doing that.
Of course they are.
It seems like
look at fucking Mario Kart 8, dude.
Bro,
we always have the conversation. I don't mean to cut you off. We always have the conversation. You want to say something?
No, I was just
we always have the conversation on this podcast about games being built either wide or deep. I feel like this game was neither.
Yeah, it's just like a circle.
Shallow.
Very shallow. There was, and I'm really glad that at the beginning you said depth with that. My biggest thing with this game was again, I feel like this is something that Nintendo has been doing for a while now. Like before we were like, is this kind of the road they're going down? And now it's very, very sure like that is the Nintendo thing. It's like have your IP franchise, whatever, put a new name on it, put that same Nintendo polish on it, it's great polish, it's Nintendo that we've come to know and love, and then sell it and, it not very much expression to it. Like I think when Wii Sports came out, it was kind of groundbreaking because it was a proof of concept for a system that was brand new at the time. Everything was always played on a controller. Now you have a nunchuck and a Wiimote. What is this? And you could, it's showing
everyone knew what it was though. It's a remote.
It was showing you how to do the different like things, and it made sense, and when 16 years later, I'm expecting something different when you went from the original Wii Sports and then you went to Wii Sports Resort, you went from 6 games to 12 games, and then you had all these mini games. Now we're coming out for the Nintendo Switch. I'm like, oh, okay, surely they're going to have a lot more, right? And then it's like, oh, well, there's 6 games, and then there's going to release golf later on. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe the games are going to have more depth. And then literally my first reaction when I was playing this was like, I played it for like an hour, and then I was like, I'm kind of bored of this already.
That's how Robert and I were, yeah.
And like it felt sad to me because I was like, man, I really want to play this more, but there's just nothing else to do, So this is a game, like, in my opinion, if you live with roommates, if you got friends, family who you live with, maybe you got a younger sibling or something like that, somebody that you can play with, a significant other, maybe it's a great investment for you. But for me, like, again, had I not had that initial opportunity to play with my friends when I was, up in Pennsylvania visiting them, I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much. I did not enjoy. So I will say this: if you buy it digitally, it's actually $40 because you're not paying.
Still not worth
$10 for the little Velcro strap.
Yeah, But again, I don't think it was worth it. This is a game that if you released with the Switch,
Yes.
I think it would have made so much sense.
I would have paid an
If this
extra
was a launch
$20
title
for the Switch.
It would
or
have made so much
30
sense.
bucks for the Switch.
Yeah,
if this
timelines
came
don't
with it.
line up like
when did
that,
the Switch
though.
come out? 2017, 5 years ago. Now you're releasing this game and you
At the
have
end of the life
6
cycle
games,
for the
4 of them
console?
which are reused, you know, and then you're adding another game which you had previously at a later date. Like that doesn't really bode well.
Just to
with
be
me.
the kind of guy, like we've obviously pointed out some critiques, and I feel like a solution to this, and I don't know how simple this would have been to implement, but one, have cosmetics tied to when you play the Chambara game. The more you play the Chambara game, you unlock cosmetics for your Chambara character. So okay, I've played fucking 15 hours of Chambara with Ryan. I have a custom skin sword, sword of my skin,
stupid roulette.
a custom skin for my character, a custom skin for the arena. There's so much you could have done. Have achievements so that like maybe you have, if you're fighting Chambara, or incentivize, like if I just wanted to go into Chambara and play against an NPC, have like 3 or 4 different difficulties. If you're able to
They could have
beat-
made it like Punch Out. You guys are like My Titans
Essentially,
Punch
yeah,
Out. It's just
exactly.
like the boss gets scarier and scarier as you go on. It's
Exactly.
like, how far can you go?
there you go.
Like an
bro.
endless mode. How far can
Exactly.
you go?
So it's not super difficult for me to imagine, like, you can add progression to each game so that the things you like, you get rewarded, whether you play online or offline. Have achievements. Achievement systems have been done before. They're not super complicated.
Yeah, we're not asking for like innovation here.
Yeah,
the
no,
innovation is in the
definitely not.
game.
I would have loved to, if there was an achievement system. Oh, you just beat Chambara on Impossible, or you beat 15 Chambara enemies in Endless Mode or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, I got this really cool Chambara sword skin. Like, that would have been cool because you have that personalization. You feel efficacy in the game. It incentivizes me to go back and play more. And that wasn't done in the previous installment. So that would have been an easy thing to take from other games to add to this one that would separate it from its predecessors. But again, I'm not in the rooms. You know, this is just critique from the outside looking in.
I would love to be a fly on the wall and just some of these like, because I'm really wondering if the depth or the scope of this game, if that was a developer thing, if that was a Suits thing, maybe it was just a time thing.
Well,
We don't know.
Disrupting the Game by Reggie Fils-Aimé. If you want to know those meetings, because he actually goes into detail on a lot of them. So that's a good book. But
Do we want to do scores and then kind of give our opinions on the scores as well?
yeah, we can do that. So
All at the
right.
same time again?
Yeah. So out of 10, 10 being the best, 1 being worst. So on after I say 3.
So 3, 2, 1, go? Or
3, 2, 1, say it.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, say it. Okay. So all right. 3, 2, 1, 6.
5.
5.
All pretty close.
Okay.
All pretty
Okay.
close. So
You want to go first?
the thing that I think is the most important, I agree.
Say what, just in case. Just say it again.
So I gave it a 6 out of 10. And I think that Robert makes a good point where you don't need to innovate the systems because the game itself is innovative. We're just asking for depth that has been done in just about every single video game ever.
Every game has
Right.
a battle pass now. You don't need to rework.
I'm
the
not even
fucking
asking for a
loop.
battle pass.
Yeah.
Just give me a
Progression,
reason.
basic progression.
Just give me a progression. Yeah. So I think if the game had progression, if there was an overarching Nintendo Switch progression, and then there's also progression at the individual game level, this is probably like a 9.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Like with all the little fun modes that you have, and then there's some like cool unlockables. Like I get a
you
lightsaber.
already have custom skins in the game, so it's not too much more work to tie them behind achievements
It's
or
just-
like playing the game.
It's a worrying trend with the Switch games that I've played though. With
I'm trying with Nintendo, in my opinion. But
Mario Party limited boards, Toadstool or Mario Golf limited courses and characters. Same thing with the tennis one. Outside of tennis, there's really not much else to do. So there's like no story mode or anything. So I think Nintendo has been releasing really, really good game concepts, but they're just not fleshed out.
And a lot of
for
these games are
hours.
remade from their Nintendo 64 predecessors. And the scope of a game that was just tennis back in 1996. Sure, yeah, you can have a fucking Mario tennis game and it's just tennis and that's fucking great.
But even then, you have so much. You have the Mario Flair. They all have special abilities
for
and
sure,
stuff like
for
that.
sure.
You know, like
But like, I don't know. I think I hope that Nintendo learns that it can't just there's a different expectation now. I think the scope of things has just gotten bigger. You can't just make a game that's just flat out playing tennis and think that it's going to do well.
do you have anything else?
Nope, 6 out of 10.
So I said 6.5. Again, pretty much everything we mentioned. My big thing is something you kind of touched on too. It's just, I think we've seen that with Nintendo as more and time has gone on. They've learned. Not they've learned. I think they see their Switch more as a party machine more than anything else, which is a little bit disappointing because while this game that there is single, like you can play it single player, it is not a single player game at all. You will not have any fun at all playing this on your own. If you play it with some friends, you'll probably play it for about an hour or two, break it out of the party. You know, you guys having a couple drinks. Maybe if you're, you know, younger, you got a younger sibling or something like that.
Or family. You know, neither one of us have kids or understand
Again, yeah,
gaming
exactly.
in a familial
you know,
context.
like it's cool to bust out, but like you're not. There's no depth to it, and you're not going to want to play more because not because you're going to get quickly. Well, because you are going to get quickly bored of it because there's not much to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's something that we've noticed with a lot of the party games that are going out. It's like, oh, well, you're going to have fun with your friends. So how about we just kind of give them the bare minimum and let them kind of like discern and kind of have their way with it. You know, you mentioned Mario Party. Like, yeah, there's only 5 boards, but at least in Mario Party, they brought back like hundreds of games from all the different Mario parties. None of the games that you've brought back here that are, you know, that you've brought back from the other games are any different from their Wii Sports or Wii Sports Resorts predecessors.
Yep.
Volleyball, like it's cool to have something different, but it's not really innovative. It's up or down, you know? Golf, we'll have to see how that goes, but I don't think it's going to be really much different from Wii, from Wii Sports, the original golf, you know, and there's already a Mario Golf, you know? So if I want to play something that's a little bit more fun, I can maybe just go get Mario Golf, you know? So I mean, that was my big thing. If they would have added at the very least one of the things you mentioned, whether it be progression, achievements, the mini games, that was the 100-pin bowling was one of my favorite things back in the day. I used to always love going to my cousin's house and just playing Wii Sports and be like, I want to see how many pins I can get down and if I can get the full 100. And when I saw that all that they have here is like the obstacle course kind of, and that's only for bowling. Nothing else has anything really. So I just wish Nintendo could have done a little bit more. I feel like we always talk about gaming delays. Whenever things get delays here, we're like, yeah, we're okay with it because we feel like they can probably put more work into it.
I'll always take a better product. Always.
I would have at least rather you release this game in late 2022 with golf and maybe some other new games.
It's not like they sunk millions of dollars of promotion into this game. Like I heard about this game when you guys were like, let's do an episode on it. And I was like, cool. All right.
Yeah.
I think we were all like, yeah, when we first heard about it in the direct, we were all like mildly like, okay, cool. But you know, when I saw the price, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about paying $50-$40 for, you know, a game and for this game specifically. And I didn't feel like my money was worth, you know, maybe I'll get it more later on if I have more people to play with, but 6.5 for me.
Yeah, I gave it a 5 out of 10. And again, I said some great things about the games in it. I think that individually, Chambara, Chambara, badminton, and volleyball all deserve like 8 or 9 out of 10s in and of themselves. Just because it's clear that a lot of work was put into designing and gamifying those experiences, and they were thoughtfully crafted. And I was able to enter like a flow state while playing with Ryan, and I was like, all right, this is designed well. It didn't feel clunky. I loved those experiences, but as a pack, something that you pay for, absolutely not. Yeah, it's very, very shallow game. It feels like a very, very polished tech demo, and I just don't think that you could release a game that feels like
wish
a
they
tech
would have
demo.
had like released a demo of this at least.
Yeah, well, I mean, like what?
I mean,
what
the game would be the demo.
The game is the demo. That's the thing. Like, you know, you can only play like 60 seconds of each game. So yeah, I kind of what I touched on earlier is that I would like to not see games like this published for like released for money in the future, whatever the next console is. Nintendo has already learned the lesson of the power of releasing something like this at launch with your console. Or shit, you can even experiment and just give it to players for free. Just like, hey, or with your purchase of the new Nintendo, new Nintendo monthly service, you know what you get for free? Fucking Wii Sports Switch. And it's
I saw that too.
Okay, well that would have been a great idea.
People
You're
were saying that.
incentivizing people buying into your monthly product. You're able to support the development of exclusive titles with that. I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm coming up with a lot of great ideas here. Again, I don't know how feasible they are, but I just don't think that these
all
games
been done
are
before.
worth
It's
the
very
money.
feasible.
Especially again, looking at the past, you saw Wii Sports came up for free with the game, and then Wii Sports Resort, which came with 12 games, all with variations of them. And now it feels like we're taking 3 steps back, and yeah, that's just
Just because Nintendo's like, we're Nintendo.
yeah, I don't know.
Like,
It's
and with how
this
like
is
stingy they
technically
like to
a
be about
main
their
because
IPs
of
and
how
stuff.
big Wii Sports got. This is a main title game, 100%. I don't look at this as like, oh, this is like a second string, third string. Like, no, Wii Sports has clout to it. That has weight.
Imagine any other game that sold. How many was it? Like 27 million copies, I think this was, or something like that,
For what?
for the original Wii Sports.
Oh, I think it was more than that.
It was like 100 million or something like that.
Was it?
because it was with every console.
Yeah, it was a fuck ton.
Where did they get 27 million from? Maybe that was a
that's
console.
definitely way more
Oh,
than
selling over 82 million copies by the end of
Yeah, bro.
2017. So if you take any other game that sold about 80 million copies, that's a lot. We'll say 50 million copies. And then you release something 16 years later, and then you give it like a half-assed approach.
Yeah, no.
It's not going to do well.
They would never do any of their other mainline games like this at all. So I don't know. It feels like this was just like they had it developed and like it was on the side and maybe they pushed a little further and they're like, hey, let's.
I think this was like a B team thing. It's like, hey guys, like,
Yeah,
why don't we
B-team
just
thing.
have Switch Sports? We have a lot of the old code. We have a lot of reused assets. I mean, literally, like I said, that run meter is literally like it's the same exact thing from the.
Well, they
Breath of the Wild.
probably
And I'm
had a
like,
design issue with like how do we convey stamina, and it's like okay, well we already have Breath of the Wild, which was one of the most popular Switch games of all time.
Yeah.
and it has this,
Absolutely.
so let's just take it. I'm like, okay,
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna knock them for that, but like,
maybe Sports Up put a soccer ball in the middle. Of it. I don't know. Make it a soccer ball, and like the whole soccer ball gets like like less transparent or something. I don't know.
listen, being on the other side
do
of
I
it now,
know?
development is hard. I'm sure the designers themselves wanted to make a great experience. I'm sure if we're at this table talking about this, I'm sure it was discussed
Right.
at the table with the people who were actually
That's what I
wanting
was
to
saying.
make a great
I
game.
wonder who decided was it Suits? Was it Devs? Was
Yeah, I
it
don't know.
time and money?
Money, scaling, I don't know, timing with other releases. The devs, I think the devs did a great job with making the actual games themselves, except for tennis. But yeah, it's just,
I think my true test with this game is how many times I boot this game up after today's episode.
I'll probably boot it up a couple times, like when I have friends over or something, or like when Derek's.
I feel like if I was
Duke's
dating
friends are
someone who
over.
wasn't a gamer, this is the kind of shit I had to play with her. Just be like,
Probably,
I want
yeah.
to play a game, but like she don't play games. So it's like, yeah, let's play Chambara, you know?
So Robert can just destroy her and knock her
just
to the
get
water
fucked.
every single time.
bitch.
We are not a misogynistic podcast, we swear.
No, of course. She can also beat me. Hey, she could beat me. Who knows? Maybe she's a Chambara pro.
Oh man.
All
Good
right.
episode, boys. Yeah. I mean the game
All
was
right.
it's just I wish there was just more.
So you gave it a 5.5?
I get a 5.
5.
5,
5,
6,
6.5.
6.5. So
Yeah.
that's like right at it. 5.8.
5.75.
Just as like I paid for this experience, I can't rate it highly at all. But like again, individually, the games inside are designed well. It's a cute game, but like
We'll say we gave it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Definitely the lowest one that we've done so far. But yeah, so that's the episode for Nintendo Switch Sports. What's coming up, guys?
we did a retrospective on Blizzard. We did a review on Nintendo Switch Sports.
What's
Figure it out.
next?
We always usually after we end these episodes literally say right after like, hey guys.
You know what we should do? Predictions for the presentations in June.
Okay, that would be fun.
Ooh, okay.
So I don't know if Sony's doing one, but I believe Nintendo's doing one, and Microsoft has an hour and a half.
Is Microsoft going to be at E3?
There's no E3 this
Oh,
year.
that's right. There is none.
Yeah, so they just have a presentation in June.
Oh my god. Since we've been talking about going to PAX, what if we did a podcast at PAX, like an episode at PAX? That'd
Oh,
be
yeah.
fun.
Do like some sort of vlog or something like that?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
definitely-
yeah, we should definitely do that.
That'd be super fun.
Yeah, we should definitely do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I actually think next episode I would actually like to do some predictions of what we want to see at
Oh, it's
presentations
going to
in
be
June.
another Call of Duty, another Battlefield, another Assassin's Creed. No, I'm just kidding.
Nintendo Switch Pro.
I know. I mean, earlier when you said like, yeah, new Call of Duty, it's like, bro, well, how many shitty Call of Duties do we have to go through before we
Here's
stop
my
bringing
thing.
this up,
If they
man?
release, so I actually saw an article about this today about, I guess Nintendo says it's difficult to release a newer next gen console because they don't know how to approach it after they release the Switch and with the success, excuse me, of the Switch. And I think they were saying that they don't want to have. I think the whole point of it was they don't want to have another Wii to Wii U situation, which was really poor marketing on their part. You know, at that point, just call it something like the Switch 2 or the Super Switch, or knowing
Reggie talks about it in his book.
knowing Nintendo, they'll probably call it the new Nintendo Switch or some stupid shit like that.
Swatch.
I don't know if they release like a new like pro version of it. I don't know if it would be like a new updated version of the Switch. I think they seem pretty comfortable with what they have. Right
I would
now,
love a
but
60 FPS 4K Switch.
I would love a high
I would
fidelity
take that
version
as
of it
the
for
next
sure.
step.
But the
We
thing
don't-
is the backwards compatibility with all those games. I don't think they're built to upscale into that. So I think it would probably have to be. We'll see.
Yeah,
That
you
would be
probably had to
interesting,
play
though.
at the native stuff that game was built on.
So
They would.
It would-
They probably have to release like
It'd
some
have to
patch.
down-res the old games. Yeah, okay.
No, they
Probably.
probably have to release like some patch that if you play it on this system, then it like upscales it. Or we're just spitballing though. But I mean, any closing thoughts for you guys?
It's good to be back. It's good to be on the pod.
good to be back.
I'm really happy to be doing this with you guys. Almost coming up on a year. You guys who are listening right now, whether it's live on Twitch or YouTube and or in the future at any point, feel free to hit us up through Instagram, through Twitter. If you have any suggestions or anything you guys want to go hear us kind of do our 2 cents on, we're always willing to take suggestions. We've already
Yeah,
done
that
it.
industry episode we did was based on a suggestion. that
We've
had,
taken
so-
listener suggestions before for content, so we kind of want to build a community around what our listeners want. So if you guys ever have any ideas, we're just people like you guys. So feel free to shoot us a DM, and we'll be more than happy to talk to you.
Yep. All right. So until next time, also fuck that dude from PlayStation who hit up that little kid.
Yeah.
That guy.
Fuck that
Wearing the
dude.
Sony shirt.
Why would you wear the Sony shirt? You
don't
fucking
get it.
idiot. All right, guys. Until
As
then.
always, check us out on streaming platforms, so on and so forth.
I do have an announcement before we go.
iTunes,
go.
podcast,
I'll be participating in the Dark Tournament.
All right.
Spotify.
Take care, guys.
Genkai.